Good evening, class, and welcome to our performance management class for today. Today, we'll be taking a topic in the short term decision making series called the shutdown and further processing. So, what is shutdown and further processing? That's what we are going to be talking about today. These are termed other short-term decision-making costs and decision-making processes. We've learned of relevant costing, we've learned of one-off contracts. Now we are going to talk about shut down and further processing. So let's go. Shut down, shut down decisions. A shutdown decision is a decision about whether to shut down a part of an operation of a company or not. So management is thinking of shutting down a particular department. Why would they be thinking of shutting down? From a financial point of view, that department or that unit should be shut down because it's not making operating profits. That is why management may want to shut down. So it means that the benefits of shutting down outweigh the costs of shutting down. So the company will be better off if that operation is shut down. A shutdown decision may be a long term where there are large initial expenditure involved. And in that case, you may make some workforce redundant. It may also be a short-term decision. In the case of this, we are looking at short-term decision. All right, so example of shutdown decisions. What are some of the examples of the shutdown decisions that we will have to make? Now look at this example. Afoku Nigeria Limited makes four products, P, Q, and R. So these are the products here, P, Q, and R. Now the budget for next year is as follows. So for direct materials, they have budgeted 300,000 for P. For Q, they have budgeted 500,000. For R, they have budgeted 400. For S, 700. So altogether makes it 1,900,000. Then we have the direct labor and the variable overhead. So these direct materials down to variable overhead, these are all variable costs. So when you add all these variable costs, it gives you 4,600,000. Now when you compare this with the sales revenue per each of the products, find out that if you remove 800 from 1,800,000, the contribution is a positive one, making 1,000,000 naira contribution. Everybody here, or every product here is making a contribution. Then we have something called directly attributable fixed cost. So these are special fixed costs. What does it mean? It means that these fixed costs only exist because that department or that product exists. I'll give an example now. Let's say you are renting refrigerator as a fixed cost, and you have a department called smoke fish and ice fish department. Where will you keep the fish? In in the refrigerator. If you close down that department, you will no longer be renting the refrigerator. And so that is what we call directly attributable fixed cost. Then I'm hearing some noises here, so I will need to mute everyone. Okay, so I was given an example of iced fish and we use refrigerator. What about if it is smoked fish department? Maybe you have cost of firewood as a fixed cost. If you stop the smoked fish department, you no longer be buying that firewood. So that is a directly attributable fixed cost. Sometimes we call it specific fixed cost or special fixed cost. Then we have general fixed cost. So general fixed cost is the one that you just apportion to everybody. It's just like saying you want to share light bill now and electricity bill, and all the departments must share it. It doesn't matter whether you own the light for that day or not, or you have anything to, you don't have much things to do with light, you still have to pay that fixed cost. Then we look at the profits or loss, and we find out that P is making a profit, Q is making a loss, R is making a loss, S also, okay, R is making a profit, sorry, S is making a loss, and the combined profit is 250. And we are told that directly attributable fixed costs are cash expenditures that are directly attributable to each individual product. These costs will be saved if operations to make and sell the products were shut down. Then we are told, state with reasons whether any of the products will be withdrawn from the market. Okay, so let's see the solution here. Sorry. Let's see how this can be solved here. Let's look at it here. Okay, this is illustration. Illustration one. What's the name of the company again? Alfuku Nigeria Limited. So that's the company's name. What are we asked to do? State with reasons whether any of the products should be withdrawn from the market. So to determine if any product is withdrawn from the market. Okay, so we have how many products here? Sorry, we have P, Q, R, and S. P, Q, R, S, Then we have total. Now, let's suppose that we want to shut down, let's suppose we want to shut down any of them. So it means that our revenue lost. So if you shut down any of them, you are going to lose revenue. Look at the revenue you are going to lose: 18, 1650. Let's write that: 18, 1650. This should be 22. This should be 1550. Memory serves me right. 1550. So altogether 72. So this is the revenue that would have been lost. Normally, revenue is supposed to be a positive figure, but because we are losing it, it becomes a negative figure. Now look at variable cost saved. Variable cost saved. So what are those variable costs? I remember here was 800. And let's see the rest: 15, 11, 12, 46. 15, 11, 12, 46. Now you see, variable cost is supposed to be an expenses, but because now you are saving them, it means it's as good as you are gaining it as something you received. So when you do that, this should be lost contribution, lost contribution. So this is 1000 lost. See the contributions we are giving there. Let me just pick them. This is 150, 350, 150, 11, 350, 26. So this is the lost contribution. Now this is the contribution that you are going to lose. Then the fixed costs that are specific fixed costs, you save them. Specific fixed costs. We are going to save the specific fixed costs, which is 400, 250, 300, 300. Okay, so that means you are going to save these costs. So let's see what will happen here. So 100, 1 million or 1000 minus, or 400 minus 1000, that will give us 600. 250 positive minus 150, that will give us 100. 300 minus 1,100. That should give us 800. That should give us 800 in the negative. 300 minus 350. That should give us 50 in the negative. And this will give us 1250 minus 600. That should give us 350. So it should be more than that. Let me use the calculator. 1250 minus 26, 1350. Yes. All right. So this is um, lost contribution. This is lost contribution, or how will I call it? This is contribution forgone. Yes, contribution forgone. So what it means here is this: if you shut down P, if you shut down P, you are going to lose 600,000. You shut down P because you have lost this revenue, you are getting this cost. So this is the lost contribution. This is the specific fixed cost that you will save from not doing P. So the overall effect is that you have lost 600,000. Here, if you shut down Q, you don't lose anything. Instead, you gain 100,000 by shutting down Q. If you shut down R, you lose 800. And if you shut down S, you lose 50. It will seem in the question that because S was making a loss and Q was also making a loss, now you think that because of that, you are considering trying to shut down S or Q. Of course, you will not be attempting to shut down P, but what you should know is this: all of them make contribution, positive contribution. But when you check the, like we did here, the specific fixed cost of Q, that is the relevant fixed cost, is higher than the relevant contribution. So the relevant cost is higher than the relevant contribution. And so because of that, you are going to shut down Q. So Q will be shut down and we will have a benefit of 100,000. We should not do not shut down, do not shut down S. Do not shut it because you will lose this amount. So what will your advice be? Do not shut down S. Otherwise, we shall lose 50,000. On the other hand, on the other hand, Q should be shut down so that our relevant contribution will be improved by 100,000. So that's it. So now the reason why this is making a loss here, this S, is because the share of the fixed cost was too much. Its share of the fixed cost, general fixed cost, was too much. And these are unavoidable costs. You cannot avoid it. Now look at Q. Even if you shut down Q, this fixed cost of 200 will still be made and shared to everybody. Unlike the directly distributable costs that would disappear if that department disappear. So that's it. That's the reason. Somebody's Someone is saying, can you explain the reason for your decision? Okay, let me read the decision here. From a financial point of view, a product should be withdrawn from the market if the savings from closure exceeds the benefit of continuing to make and sell the product. If a product is withdrawn from the market, the company will lose contribution. So contribution for gone. So you see where you put all your contribution as negative figures, and the directly attributable costs will be saved. Now, if you look at it now, what is the net save or net loss? Now, anyone that has negative as the final answer means that is the net loss or net reduction in cash flow. Net reduction in cash flow. Okay, so if you look at this, that's the language I want to use. Reduction in cash flow. So let me put it again here. Net increase or decrease in cash flow. So it means that going to this place now, if you shut down P, it will reduce your cash flow by 600,000. So would you want to shut it down? No. If you shut down Q will increase your cash flow by 100. You want to increase your cash flow? Yes. So shut it down. The others, if you shut them, there will be a reduction in cash flow. And we said S make a loss of 350 before, after the allocation of general fixed overhead. Now we said that this fixed overhead that is general will always be made. And so that is not relevant. But we said those specific fixed costs that will go off when that product is shut down, these are relevant. So we see here that if we remove Q from the product line, our cash flow will increase. So what should we do? Carry on making your S, but stop making product Y. So what are we saying here? If you have to shut down any product line, look at the contribution that you are going to forgo. Look at the cost that you are going to gain. What is the net cash flow? Either is it going to be an increase or going to be a reduction? If it is going to be a reduction in cash flow, shut down that product, then don't shut it. But if your cash flow is going to increase by shutting down, then by all means shut down. Now that we've done that, let's look at joint products and further processing decisions. Joint products are products manufactured from a common process. Now, in some instances, a company might have a choice between selling the joint product as soon as it is output from the common process, or process the joint product further before selling it at a higher price. So it means that, look at the example here, we have crude oil as a joint product. When you mine the crude oil from the ground, that is a process, a common process. And you win it from the ground and it becomes joint, it becomes a crude oil. You can either sell the crude oil that way, or you can process it further and split it off into diesel, kerosene, and petrol. Then you sell this final product at a higher price. Now, what is your decision when it comes to either selling it as soon as the output comes out from the common process, or splitting it further so that you can sell at a higher price? The relevant costs and relevant revenues should be considered. Now, the financial assessment should compare the revenue that will be obtained from selling the joint product as soon as it comes out, less the cost. That's one. You have to compare that with, if you are going to process it further, what will be the incremental cost versus the selling price. So we're going to apply relevant costing. The cost of the common process are irrelevant to the decision because the common cost will always be incurred. So it doesn't matter. The common cost that is common to all of them is irrelevant because here they will be incurred one way or the other. So, but now the decision will now be, should we process further or should we not process further? So if we are processing further and we have a relevant cost of processing further, then we should go ahead and process further. But if we do not have any benefit of processing further, then we should not process further, but sell at when it is coming out as output from the common process. Now look at this example here. A company produces two joint products from a common process. The cost of the common process is 44,000 naira per 100 kilogram of input. And we said for every 100 kilogram of input to the common process, the output consists of 40 kilogram of J1, 40 kilogram of J1, and 40 kilogram of J1, 60 kilogram of J2. So it means that you bring in 100 kilogram input, the output is 40 for J1, 60 for J2. Now, J1 can be sold for 100 naira per kilogram. J2 can be sold for 160 per kilogram. Alternatively, J1 can be processed to make a finished product F1. So J1 can become F1. Now the further cost of turning J1 to F1 is variable cost is 60 naira, and that specific fixed cost is 1,200,000 per year. Okay, it's not a specific fixed cost, rather. Now they said of this, 960 would be directly attributable to the further processing operation, and the remaining 240 would be an apportionment of the general fixed overhead. The further processed F1 would have a selling price of 280 naira per kilogram. It is estimated that 10,000 kilograms of J1 is produced each year. There are no losses in any of the processes, so we see that there is no loss. Normally, if there is a manufacturing process, there used to be normal loss. But you see here, 100 kilogram is coming out as 100 kilogram, 40 and 60, so no loss. Now, we want to take a decision on J1. Should we sell J1 as soon as it is produced from the common process, or should we further process it to F1? So the problem here is, should we process J1 further, or should we not process it further and sell it as J1? All right, so let's see what the solution will look like. Now, the question is, should we turn J1 to F1? Now, the common processing costs are relevant to the further processing decision, and the annual relevant and cost and benefit of processing J1 and turning it into F1 is as follows. We were told that F1 will be sold at 280 naira per kilogram. So let's see, if we turn J1 to F1, we are going to be selling it at 280 naira, right? That's a benefit for it. Now, what is the cost of making J1 to become F1? They said cost of further processing consists of variable cost 60 naira per kilogram. So, in order to turn J1 to F1, we have to spend 60 naira for 1 kilogram. So when that is done, 280 minus 60 gives us 220. So this is the additional variable revenue that you will gain from further processing. So it means that if you are selling it at 280 and you have made a conversion cost of 60 naira, your kind of variable contribution cost or so is 220. So this is what you are gaining in further processing. But of course, you could have sold J1 immediately for 100 naira. So, but because you didn't sell this at 100 naira and you are eyeing of selling F1 at 280, this 100 naira becomes a lost contribution. So it means that for gaining this, you've lost 100 naira contribution. So you're no longer selling J1, but you are processing it. So it means that this J1 contribution is lost. That means the benefit of losing this contribution and going for a higher selling price is 120 naira per unit. 120 naira per unit. Then you were told that it is estimated that 15,000 kilogram of J1 will be produced. So it means that for every J1 that you produce, you would have lost 100 naira, and you would have processed them to get F1. So it means that for every F1 you produce further from J1, you'll be gaining 120. Now multiplied by 15,000 J1 produced, it means that this is your total benefit. So let's calculate to confirm that figure. 120 multiplied by 15,000, that gives me 1,800,000. That's fine. Then we were told that there is a fixed cost. The fixed cost is 1,200,000, but it has been divided 960, 240. So 960 is directly attributable. The 240 remaining is general. So you leave that 240 general cost. So there are two costs that we didn't touch here. The common process cost of 4,000, and this remaining 240 was not touched here. So we take this 960. This is the cost that is directly attributable to J1. So this is the total benefit, 18. And look at the total cost. The net benefit will now be 840. So this is just by turning J1 to F1. So if you turn J1 to F1, your profit will increase by 840. If you do not turn it to J1, your profit will just remain the same way you are expecting it to. But that means you would have made 100 naira, you would have just made 100 naira as your contribution, and you would have been, that's what your contribution would have been, times 15,000. So your contribution would have been like 150,000. But now, because you are processing further, you are having additional benefit of 840,000 to it. So that's it for here for split off. So consideration here for splitting off here is that if you split off your processes, or your the products are splitted off after the common process has been made, you have a choice of either selling it off at the split off point, or you process further and make a higher profit. If you cannot get a benefit from processing further, then do not process further. So that's it for that topic. We now come to our past question analysis here. Let's look at the question here. We have November 2015, question number 3. Let me also see if I can see another. Okay. We also have question 6. I'll need to check if it follows that pattern. Don't think it's that pattern. So we'll check November 15, 20, November 2015, question 3. All right, so look at this question. Casco Limited manufactures 4 products from a single chemical process and a single raw material. The production director is considering proposals to discontinue certain production processes and has provided the following information. The cost of raw material for the year just ended is 1,320,000. The initial processing cost amounted to 2,564,600. All the 4 products W, X, Y, and Z are produced simultaneously at a single split-off point. Product Y is sold immediately without further processing. The other 3 products are subject to further processing before being sold. It is the company's policy to apportion the cost prior to the split-off point on a suitable sales value basis. The output, sales, and additional processing costs for the past year were as follows. And this is products W, X, Y, and Z. Look at the output. Now they say the output, sales, and additional process cost. So look at the output for the year: 400 for W, 82,230 for X, 5,000 for Y, 9,000 for Z. That's the output in units. Look at their sales and look at their additional processing cost. Now we are told that the proposal being considered by the management is to sell the products to other processors immediately after the split-off point without any of the present additional processing. The additional processing cost of W, X, and Z would either no longer be incurred or be charged to an alternative profitable use. The prices per unit to be obtained from other processors would be 6 naira, 40 kobo, 8 naira, 32 naira, and 100. You are required to prepare a statement of 1. The profit or loss on each of the 4 products. So management is saying that they don't want to do further processing. They want to sell it to other processors immediately after the split off. Then they now said statement of the change in profit or loss given in your solution to one above if the proposal being considered were adopted. Then identify 2 long-run pricing decision approaches that are relevant to a price-setting firm. Now let's look at the solution here. I'll be explaining the solution to us here. Now we are told that the total material cost is 1,320,000. So this is the material cost, 1,320,000. So that's what we have here, 1,320,000. Okay. Then we have the initial processing cost, which is this. That's what we have here. So these are the two costs, material cost and processing cost, which is conversion cost. When you add them together, you are getting this. And of course, your two accounts must be balanced. So it means that this material cost and the processing cost add together to give you a joint cost. So this is your joint cost. Getting question? So we'll write the solution. We'll write the solution, but let's understand it here. Let's understand it here. Material cost is given to us here. That is what we have written down here. The process cost was given to us here. That is what is given to us here. And we say this is our joint cost. Now, if you want to do your joint cost, which is this, you have to apportion it. Okay, you want us to write it down. Okay, no problem. This is November 2015, question 3, ICANN. What's the name of the question again? Casco Limited. Okay, profit statement. So what are the products here? W, X, Y, and Z. We have W, X, Y, Z, and total. Okay, so that's it. We are told that the units produced, output, look at the quantity produced, 400, 889, 230. So we write the quantity produced here. Quantity produced. So this is 400. 89, 89 what? 230. Excuse me. 5,000 and 9,000. 5,000 and 9,000. So when you add them together, okay, I want to save my time, the time of doing calculation, but let me just do the calculation. 400 plus 89.23 plus 5 plus 9. That will give you 503,230. 503,230. Now that's your quantity you produced. This is your quantity. So since you are asked to write profit statement, you need to check your revenue. Your revenue. What is your revenue? You were told these are your revenues. These are your revenue. Your revenue here is 3840. 3840. Okay, thousand. 1160. This thousand here. 1160,000. 160 and 12. If I were to add them together, I have 3840 plus 1160 plus 160 plus 12. That will give me 6360. Six, sorry, 6360. Now that's your revenue. Now we have costs. So the first cost is share of joint costs. Now this joint cost is going to be shared. They said the company's policy is to apportion the cost prior to the split off point on a suitable sales value basis. Sales value basis. So we'll do a workings for that. Let me say workings. Come back to it. Then there's another cost, further processing costs. Further processing costs. We were told that Y doesn't have, it was sold off immediately. So let's see the other ones here. We have 800, 640, and 40. 800, 640, and then 40. You add them together, let's see. We have 800 plus 640 plus 40. That gives me 1480. 1480. So this should be your profits. You don't know how much the profit will be. So this is your profit or loss. Because we are asked to do a profit statement. So now we will now go down to our workings. Workings 1. Workings 1 is share of joint costs. So we have material costs. How much is material cost? So that material cost is 1320. 1320. Processing cost. How much is processing cost? Processing cost is 2564,600. Okay, so let's add this to get our joint cost. Joint cost will now be 1,320 plus 2,564.6. That will give you 3,884.6. So this is your joint cost. But there is a thing here. They said the the company is to apportion the cost prior to the split off point on a suitable sales value basis. Sales value basis. What do they mean? This is sales value. So in order to apportion the cost for W, let's say W's cost will be, this is what we are sharing, right? 3,884,600. This is what we want to share. How much will be that of W? We'll go to what is the sales value of W. That is what they call sales value basis. 3,840,000. 3,840,000. So that will be 3,840,000 all over. What is the total sales value? 6,360,000. 6,360,000. So when we do that, what do we have? 3,884,600. Let me say divided by 6,360,000 multiplied by 3,840,000. I'm getting 2,000,000, just say 23,45,419. 23,45,419. 23,45,419. So this is what I'm getting here. Then I'll do the next one. X cost, or let's say X share. Let me use share. We still use the same thing. 3,884,600. This is here. I'll still say divided by 6,360,000 times, what is X sales value? 89,230. 89,230. 89,230. Okay. If I were you in the exam, instead of doing all of this, I will still bring this answer here. Okay, let me not go through that. Some people will still not understand. I would have divided this figure I used up here and multiply this. Let me do that and I will do the second one. If I divide by 384,000 and then multiplied by 89,230, I will get 54,500. Okay, Let me do it the other way. Oh, sorry, somebody saying 89,230 is the unit. Yeah, okay. Let me check the sales value. 1,600,000. Sorry, thank you. 1,600,000. 1,600,000. 1,160,000. Okay, so let me undo what I have done before. If I now divide by 89,230 and I multiply by 1,160,000, okay, that will give us 708,512. 708,512. We'll do it the other way. 708,512. Let's do it the normal way, 388,4,600. Now divided by 6,360,000 multiplied by 1,160,000. This will be the same thing. All right. This is X share. Let's go to Y's share. Okay, I need to write that of X 708,512. 708,512. And let me remember that Y's sales revenue is 160 because I will need it. Y's share, I will have 160 here. That's the only thing that is different. So this is 388,4,600 divided by 6,360,000. So all I will just do now is follow that my pattern. You can do your own calculation, but this is faster for me. I'll divide by this figure here, 1160, and I'll multiply by this times 160, getting 97,726. 97,726. 97,726. Take it down here. 97,726. And I know this is 1,200,000. So Z share 388,4,600 divided by 6,360,000 times 1,200,000. I will still do my calculation the way I will divide by this answer I did before. So divided by, I can say, and do it another way, 160, I even say 1.6 multiplied by 1,200. So this is 732,943. 732,943. 732,943. 732,943. Okay, so now let me add all of these together. We have 2, 3, 4, 5, 419 plus 708,512 plus 97726 plus 732943. That gives us your 3,884,600. 3,884,600, which is the cost that we had here that we are trying to share. And so we've shared them. Okay. I have this cost here. So let me just put a minus sign before it. I will say minus 1,480,000, which is this one here. Then I'll plus the revenue here, 6,360,000. That will give me 995,400. 995,400. This is the total revenue. Let's look at each of them individually. We have 384,000 minus 2,345,419 minus 800,000. And that will give you 694,581. Then we do the second one, 1,160,000 minus 708,512 minus 640,000. That will give us negative figure 188,512. Negative, that's a loss. So we have here 160 minus 97 726. That gives us 62,274. And then we have 1,200,000 minus 732,943 minus 400. 67,057. Let's see if our figures were correct. I have these. Let me move from left to right, or right to left rather. Now plus 62,274 plus, let me add the positives, plus 694,581 plus, I'll start it again, 694,581 minus 188,512 plus 62,274 plus 67,057. There must be something I've missed here. Missed something here. Let me check this. 1,160 minus 708,512 minus 640,000. Okay. Let me check this last one. 1,200,000 minus 732,943 minus 40. Okay, this is where I got it. 427. Oh, is it 427 for me? 427. Okay, so let's check it again. I have this, go from right to left, plus 62,274 minus 188,512 plus 694,581. And that gives me the same thing I have here. So that's my profit statement. We are asked to make a profit statement, and we have made a profit statement. So it's similar with what we are asked to do. Okay? So what will happen now? They said prepare a statement of change in the profit or loss given in your solution if the proposals were being adopted. So what was the proposal here? The proposal being considered by the management is to sell the product to other processors immediately after the split off without any present additional processing. So what it means is that all these quantities here, we are going to sell them at to processors. So they will not do processing. So what they will do now is the prices to sell will be all of these. So that means this sales revenue is of no use for us now. So what we're going to do now is, the second question is change in revenue. So the B part or the second part, is it change in profit? Yes, change in profit or loss. Change in profit or loss. So we have W, X, Y, Z total. So we have quantity. What were the quantities? 400, 89,230, 5,000 and 9,000. These are quantity. Then this is price, prices. I will say selling prices, selling prices. We are giving these prices 6.48. So this is in Naira. 6.4. This is 8.0. 32, and 100. Let me remove the 0.0 so that somebody will not think it's 80. This is 32, and this is 100. This is 6.4. So these are revenue. What will our revenue be? 400,000 multiplied by 6.4. That gives me 2,560,000. Now the second one, 89,230 multiplied by 8, 713,840. Okay. The third one, 5,000 multiplied by 32, 160. The last one, 9,000 multiplied by 100, 900,000. So the total will be what? We have 900 plus 160 plus 713,840 plus 2,560,000. That will give me 433,840. 433,840. 433,840. So this is your revenue if you sell it to processors. So what is your cost? The cost will be joint cost. What is the joint cost that we had here? You can say this one here, 2345419, 2345419. 2345419. Y 97. Okay, sorry. X 708512. 708512. Y will now be 97726. 97726. Z 732943. 732943. If you remember when we added them together, it was our joint cost of 3884600. Now, because we didn't process further, this is the only cost that we made. Then we had profits. So this is profit. Let me do the first one now. Okay, I have this in my calculator. Let me do the last one. Minus 3884600. That will give me 449,240. That's a profit here. So let's start from the beginning. 2560,000 minus 2345419. That will give us 214581. Then we have 713840 minus 708512. This is 5328. 5328. The next one, 160,000 minus 97,726. That will give you 62,274. And the very last one, 900 minus 732943. That will give us 167,067. 057. Where did I see this figure before? Okay. Now, if I add all of this, let's see. Okay. So I'll add this to 62,274 plus 5320 plus 214581. There's something I've missed out here. What's the difference? Minus 449240. I've missed out 8. Okay, I know where this 8 is coming from. I have, let's redo this. 713,840 minus 708,512. Okay, this is the 8 here. All right. So this is your profit. Then you say previous profit. The previous profit is the profit we had here. 694, 694, 581, 694, 581, 694, 581. The second one is a loss of 188,512. 188,512. That's a loss. The third one, 62,274. 62,274. Said it, I've seen that figure before. Then we have 427,057, 427,057, 427,057. And what's the total there? 995,400. 995,400. Sorry, why was I putting all of this in brackets? Four two seven. So this is 4. So this is the current profit. This is the previous profit. If you want to find change in profit, it means you need to minus one from the other. So I will say this is minus. So I will have to be minusing this. I put minus, I put minus, I put minus. It's as good as putting the bracket, no problem. What is the change? I have 214,581 minus 694,581. The change is less than 480,000. So I have 480,000. This is the change in this one here. I have 5328. What am I writing? 5328 minus 188,512. I'll put this second minus. So this is 5328 minus 188. So the resultant effect is going to add 193,840. 193,840. Okay. So of course, this and this are the same. This is going to be 0. There's no change in profit in this one here. Then we have 167,057 minus 427,057. I have 360, 360, and let's do the last one. 499,240 minus 995,400. 496,160. So that's the change. So let's check if that is correct. I have 480,000 negative. If I plus 193,840 and I minus 360. That means I've done something wrong. I'll do it again. 480,000. It has a minus. 480,000 has a minus plus 193,840 plus 360. Okay, it's not plus, it's minus. Minus 360. That should give me 64. Let me write this down. 646,160. 646,160. So what did we do wrong here? 4,333,840 minus 3,884,600. That gives me this minus profit here 995,400. 995,400. So what's the difference now? Let me see the difference. 646,160. Difference is 100,000. Where is the 100,000 coming from? All right, let me see what was done here. We are doing the same. We are doing something correct. Okay, so let me get my acts well. I have 4,333,840 minus 3,884,600. Yes. And then I minus 995,400. 546, 546,160. 546,160. So this is the difference in profit. I thought I could establish it with this. Let's test this again. Let me see the revenue 2560. If it is the same, yes. 73,840, yes. 160 and 900, yes. And their costs. Okay. 2,344, 2,345, 419, yes. 708,512, 97,726, yes. Then we have 732,943. Yeah, maybe I'm the one who is not doing this profit well again. Let's do the profit again. I'm taking it one step. 2,560,000 minus 2,345,419. That gives me 214,581, yes. Minus the old profit here. Let's see what was done here. 494, 494,581. 494,581, yeah. Minus 694, 581. Is that what I said? 694,581. Yes. Because this one keep coming. So it gives us 480 as we calculated. Then we have 5. Okay, we have 713,840 minus 708,512,5328 minus 188,512, and I put the minus here, becomes a plus. That makes it 193,840, 62,274, and 62,274 go. Okay, I need to be sure whether this is the same thing. 160 minus 97,726, okay, minus 62,274, 0. To the next one, 900 minus 732,943 gives me this, minus 427,057. Wow, it's 260, not 360. 260. So when I do 260, that's minus 260 plus 193,840 minus 480,000. That gives me the same figure I was looking for. So that's it. This is your change in profit. So I call this change in profit. Change in profit. So it means here that if you are to adopt this new method, you are going to increase your profit higher. So it means here that if you do without splitting and you sell to processors, you are going to increase your profit by 480 for W. You are going to reduce your profit by 193,840 for X. For Y, doesn't affect. For Z, you are going to increase your profit. So this minus sign in them here is because I was using this upper one to minus the lower one. If this previous profit was up and this new one were down, you'll see that you'll be having positive figures showing you that the previous ones were were better. The previous ones were better. Okay, let me repeat myself. The previous ones we did in the first part has higher profits than this current one. So this current one would have given you a loss in cash flow of 480. Do this if you do it in the current way, or if you adopt the proposal, you will lose a cash flow of 480. You will gain a cash flow of 193,840. It doesn't affect Y because it doesn't matter. Then for Z, you will lose 260. And overall, you will lose 546, 140 if you adopt this new process. So what do you think you should do? You should not adopt the new process, but rather you should split off. You should split off and sell at a higher and process. You should, sorry, what I mean is you should process further after split off. Process further, because if you process further, you're going to get a higher cash flow. If you just sell to your processors without processing further, those increase in cash flow, you will lose them. So let's see here. That's the same thing, the net effect. They said by adopting the alternative strategy, the total contribution of the firm will reduce by 160. So it means here that this alternative strategy of selling to processors should not be adopted. If you adopt it, your cash flow will reduce by that 5 million. So it means that you should split and process further and not split and sell them off immediately. Split and process further and you will get much more profit. Then identify two long-run pricing decision approaches that are relevant to price setting of a firm. Now there is it here. Long-run approaches to price decision are pricing customized products. Then we have pricing non-customized products. Then we have target costing for pricing non-customized products. So that's it. We have learned two things today. We have learned the shut down or continue. Shut down or continue. And we have learned the process further or sell now. Look at this question number 6. Okay. No. Okay, so that's not the question. Okay, no, this is not it. So it is just this question number 3 that talks about either continue to process further or sell immediately. So you've seen the consideration for that. In our next class, we have choice of topics to take. It's possible we could take throughput accounting, which will now help us to answer a particular question here that computes throughput and marginal costing. This question number 1. So we might take throughput accounting, or we can also take target costing. So these are the two topics that is likely to be taken: target costing or throughput accounting. So I would like you to read them up before we end the class for the day, so that we will have useful contribution to make. So once again, I say thank you so much for the time spent in the class. Please do this, assign the classwork, do the past question again, and if possible, check from 2019 November to date to see if you can see any question that harmonizes with what we have learned. So that's it for today. And if you have any question, feel free to ask. Feel free to ask. Thank you so much too. Feel free to ask and I will be there to answer your question. So until then, this is goodbye from me. See you in the next class.